I'm only one who observed these great occasions. There are others who were right at the heart of the action, and it's my very great pleasure to invite to the stage now the mastermind of the 1972 triumph, the father of the Carlton Football Club as we've known it in the modern era, Big Nick, John Nicholls. Nick, welcome.
Thank you.
We don't want to sing your praises too much, do we? But
no, you've done pretty well.
Have I recounted the record faithfully of 1972?
Yes, you have. And firstly, Tim, it's great to be here to Spirit of Carlton. Wonderful days. Our history of these days is getting stronger and stronger. And to Reece and all the boys, Jeff, that run these days, it's terrific. Please keep them going because I just hope we can get more things to celebrate, not just the old ones. But 72 was, yes, you recounted pretty well. I think knowing we're coming here today, I think 40 years later, I don't reminisce much about 72. It was wonderful in my mind. I was so proud. But I'm probably have nightmares about 73, which we're not going to talk about today.
Well, at least you don't remember too much of it.
Look, I think you were right, 72, and I go back, I spent a night with Brass on Saturday night while we're playing Richmond, and sort of reminiscing with Brass a little bit, even though Brass doesn't remember as much as he should. I think, you know, the things that I sort of think about Richmond, you know, beating us in, 69 and 72 when I took over, the one thing that really, thinking back 40 years later, the one thing that I'm so proud of about our wonderful club, and sitting at the table today with Robert and with Alex and a lot of our other wonderful teammates, I'm so proud of the fact that we were a good team. We were good mates. I was one of them. I was one that used to drink with them odd times and talk with them and play with them a lot, and I helped them train when they were young. But we had a good team. There was respect. And I never had one problem, I believe, with my players as being a captain and coach going up to being one of them as far as discipline goes. They were so good. And I believe that was one of our times, even though we didn't have an official area of doing it, but Robert, I'm sure, and Alex would agree, and probably Kevin Hall and some of the older ones there, that was the start of the team, the team players having a say in what's happening. I was one of them. I involved them. They were so good. They used to come to match committee meetings. We'd discuss things. They knew about discipline. They knew about our plans. But, throughout the year, Richmond was still the better side. Through the years when I know that it's great to see Robbo here today, but back in 68, when I remember one famous game at Carlton when we were playing Richmond up at the Princes Park, and at half-time I think we were about 6 goals in front. They put Billy Barrett full forward and he kicked about 6 or 7 and they beat us. So through those years, Richmond always used to kick over 100 points every game. And we would go so close to beating them, but we couldn't beat them. So I come to 72, and after 2 or 3 sort of average games against them during the year, and a dismal one in the prelim final, when we were going to get back and play them in the grand final, I knew that we had to change our tactics altogether. And that was the reason why history showed that we tossed things around quite a bit, but I'm sure that we probably caught Tommy a bit unawares because they were set in their ways of just kicking their 100-odd points. But it was great. And I had a great captain, vice-captain, the older members of the team. They supported me. We worked together. And I think that was the reason why out of 72, you can look at all the things for and against and what have you, but to me I was so proud of the way our older players, who later coached premierships with Robert and Alex, that that was just something that was part of our culture.
That score, 28 goals, 9. Now, it's easy to imagine, viewed from 40 years on, that maybe it was a much higher scoring game back then than it is now. Well, I can tell you that Carlton's points for that year were lower than any Premier team's points for in the last 14 years, except one. That was Sydney, the Scrooge McDucks of modern day football teams in 2005. 28 goals, 9. The record still stands untouched. In fact, no one's got near it in 40 years. You can't have imagined in your wildest dreams that something you came up with would have produced an outcome like that.
Well, you don't do that to think about to start with. All you want to do is just want to win so much. And I knew that playing our old-fashioned way against Richmond, we couldn't probably win. It was a line ball, but I knew that I had confidence. And mind you, that day goals were pretty easy to get. Wolsey and Jezza and myself and Namquami there, where are you, Sydney? Gone white nowadays. They were good. They were good, but it was an overall. It was a concept, and I believe that. Yes, I am proud of the game. I'm proud of our win. I'm particularly proud of our older players and the team spirit of that. Dicko. There's so many here today that they played their part, and that was. We may have caught Richmond by surprise, possibly, but that's another story. But no, it was a great game, part of our culture, and. Probably the way the game is played, it may stand for a long time.
They didn't enjoy the surprise, Nick. We, the Carlton faithful, loved every minute of it. It's great to have you with us 40 years on to be able to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Big John Nicholls.
Thank you.
Here's Robbo again.